Asking for it. A novel approach. Episode 14. Chapter 52. So, if you're as rich as all this, how come you never buy me shit? Don't you think you're missing an opportunity there? They look out of the window wall of Lance's condo, over elite beachfront real estate, over the ocean itself. Michaela has her bare feet planted at shoulder's width in his strangely plush, short pile carpet. She stretches her arms above her head, yawning. She drops them again with a satisfied oof, followed directly by a resonant little belch. She smirks. Oops, the lady likes her beer. Michaela looks over. Lance smiles. She looks beyond him, to the closed bedroom door. That your bedroom? She gives Lance a little shove, enough to land him on the couch, then strides off toward the bedroom. You just give me a moment here. I want to have a look at your space, your things. Don't have anything to hide, do you? She's giving him that coquettish grin over her shoulder again. Her hoodie doesn't quite reach to her waist. An inch and more of glowing tan flesh rides above the clingy pink cotton capris that hug her butt so faithfully. Lance is challenged, just holding her gaze. Her hand is toying with the doorknob. You okay, Mr. A? You look a little flustered. I just want to peek at your inner sanctum here. I'll be right back. They've just driven down from Fort Pierce. Lance had to set out from here in Miami Beach at her direction bright and early. 125 miles, 75 Panamera minutes later, he was at her place in Fort Pierce. He wasn't invited in. They drove to the liquor barn for a cold six-pack of Bud King cans before they hit the freeway again. It was 8:30 a.m. and they were headed straight back to his place in Miami. Just why, she didn't give him any clue. It really didn't matter. She made him stay in the slow lane. She made short work of her first two cans of beer, feet up on the dash, checking out the changing scenery. Occasionally, she'd twist around her back to the door and regard him with an ironic grin as he searched the satellite radio for music that appealed to her. Now she's lying spread-eagled on Lance Abierti's king-size bed. The mattress is one of those made from some kind of high-tech foam that you sink into gradually, as if there were little hydraulics robotically responding to your every movement or something. Whatever it is, it's fuck-off luxurious. She's left the door ajar, but he won't come in and disturb her. She's sure of that. The Edge wouldn't come in either. But the Edge would be acting out of sheer chivalry. She suspects Lance Abierti is just a little in awe of her. Not exactly afraid, but something like it. Lance leans back into the avocado couch. He is so hot not to have Michaela. How can that make sense? And if he found her lying in there, naked, everything they do together is fraught with the carnal possibility of her. He's constantly on edge. The things he does for her, solicited and otherwise, all heighten his sensation of a relationship more intimate than it is in reality. It's driving him nuts, in a really good way. He's crazy happy, merely flirting. But if she was lying in there naked, and if she straight up demanded he service her, Lance rearranges himself on the couch, opens a magazine on his lap. He hopes she'll fall asleep in there. He could stay on the couch like this forever. Michaela is, in fact, dozing off. She rouses herself, gets up, and opens the bedroom door. Lance is pretending to read a magazine. She leans against the doorframe and watches him for a moment. When he finally cracks a smile and looks up, they have a little laugh together. So, Mr. A, why do you think you crave the abuse? Preparing to answer, Lance squirms just a little, he hopes imperceptibly. I mean, I talk to you like you're a kid sometimes. Or I just take you for granted. I never touch you, even playing around, so it can't be sexual, right? No, it's not sexual, it's a... Bullshit! What a fucking liar! Michaela cuts short her triumphant laugh and minces toward him, fake wringing her hands, face tilted with a pitying expression. What's under that magazine, then, Where's all this gonna end, Mr. A? Don't get me wrong, I'm not that interested. You need to bust a nut like any other guy, but, it's kind of weird for me. I'm always, worried you need to run off and relieve yourself or something. That's why I guess I suggested my place. I can keep a closer eye on you. You're gonna like that, aren't you? Or we could just put you into chastity, maybe. With one of those cute little cock cages. Make sure you're not wasting your creative energies. Keep you honest, right? Speak now, or forever hold your peace. Or for never hold your peace. You got some explaining to do, Mr. A. How about it? What can I say, Michaela? The more I listen, the sweeter you sound. But, I guess this is really about your career, right? I know things aren't going slowly, but after this event, we should have some new prospects. We'll have some good eyeballs in the audience that night. Oh, I guess so. Of course, Mr. A. You're absolutely right. It's all about me. But you see, that's why it's so important that you're not, distracted, So what do you say? Think of it as like an exclusive deal. Something especially for me. Lance is speechless, only gradually accepting what she is in fact referring to, a second time. His mouth is half open, frozen between smiling and beginning to speak. His knowing interrogator is making the same argument he's made himself. He couldn't refute it before, and he can't now. His lips gradually come together in a new, slightly bemused smile. Michaela claps her hands, 2 rapid little percussions before she can reassert her composure. Her hands embrace each other, snug beneath her bosom. Eyes wide and shining, she smiles back at him over some innocent cleavage. I knew you'd see it my way. I mean, a little chastity isn't so much to ask for a goddess, right? Hang on, Michaela, what exactly are we talking about here? Wreathed in ever broader smiles, positively beaming now, Michaela skips over to the kitchen counter where she's left her purse. Funny you should ask. Let's just have a look. I got the most expensive model, but the girl said it was dead easy to use. Lance's disbelief reaches a new plateau as Michaela fishes a small pinkish-purple box from the purse. Don't worry, it's not pink. See? It's actually pretty cool looking, right? It's called the DB90. In the palm of her hand, Michaela holds what appears to be a sleekly crafted silver and charcoal egg. It looks to Lance small. Really small. Look, it comes with a pair of these, in case I lose one. You can get a combination model too, but I thought, how can we get you out of it without me actually, touching you there? I'd have to give you the combination, and that would kind of defeat the whole purpose, wouldn't it? She's been dangling the angular little keys in front of him for what seems to Lance a very, very long time. Now she pockets one and slips the other into a discreet aperture on one side of the egg. It divides along a recurving line to hinge open. The bottom portion slides out with clockwork precision. The anodized alloy chassis, he can see now, has a half-inch hole flanked by 2-inch-long vents, flaring back from the egg's narrower end. The whole ingenious contraption still looks small. High tech, huh? It cost a bunch, but, satisfaction guaranteed. Her innocent cheeriness is beginning to creep Lance out a bit. Come on, give it a try. It's not going to bite. Some of them did look kind of sketchy that way, but this baby is top of the line. I had to put it on layaway for you. But you get what you pay for. Come on, let's do it. For the first time since she's revealed this little plan, Lance can feel he has subsided enough that he might actually fit, very carefully, within the sleek confines of this device. Oh, this is nuts. My nuts, he thinks. But he's spent way too many hours unbridled pleasure at Michaela's digital shrine, and more recently these hypno-clip sites. He's sore from it, and he's beating himself up with guilt as well. This thing she's suggesting, this completely crazy idea, also has its practical merits. Look, lucky man, look at her face. How can you refuse those sparkling eyes? The eyes are still wide, gazing into his own as if from the distance of a kiss. Her voice, however, filters through from some distant land. Don't worry. Your happiness is in my hands, Mr. A. And when I'm happy, you're happy, right? Pulling Punches. Chapter 53. Returning home, Michaela finds another pink envelope in her mailbox. It's from Teddy, a Valentine's Day card. Where'd you even find one at this time of year? She checks her voicemail. Sure enough, Teddy is well represented there too. Oh, fuck it, she thinks, and calls her up. Teddy? She tries giving her voice the cautionary tone that will put her plucky friend on probation right from the start. It seems to work. There are no proclamations of love, no sexual innuendo even. They arrange to meet so that Teddy can get the scoop on this pirate Valentine caper. Strictly journalistic interest assured. Teddy knows a roadhouse out in the countryside, equidistant from fort and port. Michaela gets the edge to drive her. They nearly miss the painted wooden sign, "Shoe Fly Inn." The front lot is not particularly inviting. Dirt patch, still slick from recent rains, gloomy under a massive tree Michaela can't identify. Creepy tree, she'd call it. Long, ragged branches dip toward the ground, dropping a carpet of dead black foliage over the entire lot. There are no other vehicles, no signs of habitation in general. The once white clapboard structure suffers from a bad case of mildew, or some other earthy stain spread over its entire exterior. A little row of shiny chrome bar stools and a clean countertop, visible through the screen door, only just dispel the impression of a sadly impoverished, possibly even abandoned place. It could be a shabby home on the bayou. Maybe, in a local sense, it is. Haggard, but happy to see customers, a redhead in her late 40s shows them through to a little dining room. It overlooks, through a wide, bug-screened window, a small river, lazy and green. The Edge shares a smile with their hostess as he pulls out Michaela's seat for her to sit. They look over their paper placemats and menus as this woman shuffles off, promising to be back in a jiffy. What was that all about? What? What do you mean, what? Mr. Southern Gentleman now, are we? Just try and act normal when Teddy gets here, would you? Normal. Got it. Hostess has the hots for you, by the way. Oh, I'll try to be normally considerate of that. You know, for one of my lowly minions, you're getting pretty uppity. Just let me do the talking. They look around the little room. On the walls there's nautical bric-a-brac, prints of a local prize fisherman and their catches. An enormous wood and wicker fan paddles the air gently down onto them. The rough plank flooring creaks at their hostess approaching with glasses of water. What sounds like an ancient tractor rattling into the room shatters the peaceful atmosphere just as the happy redhead is about to ask what they'd like. God damn bikers! Don't see any beer signs out front, do you? Try and run a nice little family business. Ah, listen to me rambling. What are you darlings liking for starters? Kermit? Is that griddle hot yet? Love of my life, but he's taken a while getting used to the apron. Sharecropper, him. Him and his daddy both. And daddy's daddy, too. But it's a changing world, and that's for sure. A short, stout black man steps into the room. He has one eyebrow cocked and lips formed in a long-suffering yet good-humored moo. No, I ain't got the griddle, but I gots to imagine the 4-5 minutes griddle usually take be all it take today. Well, howdy, folks. What can we be getting you? He makes a little bow in their direction, and the man wears, in fact, a clean white cotton apron over his jeans. His checkered shirt sleeves are rolled up, revealing powerful forearms. Now, Kermit, that's my job. You just have to... All right, Mama, all right. Just try to be helpful. He grins with evident pleasure and disappears back the way he came. The screen door slams shut out front. The redhead grimaces and seems to freeze in anticipation of something bad. Michaela checks the Edge's expression before looking over her shoulder in the direction of the heavy footsteps she hears approaching. First through the doorway, Amandla ducks a little out of habit. Teddy still has a black pudding bowl helmet squashed down over her wiry pile of ginger locks. Neither smiling nor frowning, though a little dent has developed between her eyebrows, the hostess seems to be making calculations in her head. She hesitates, pencil hovering near a little order pad she holds before her bosom. Amandla, dressed as ever in jump boots and abbreviated fatigues, surveys the Edge, the room, and the river outside as Michaela and Teddy exchange greetings. The new arrivals take the remaining 2 seats at the table. The hostess revives and retreats for more water. Amandla and the Edge are introduced. Amandla makes no effort to tuck her long legs in under the table. She looks from Michaela to the Edge, then turns back to Teddy. So you both brought backup, huh? Pretty funny. Michaela consults with Teddy, eye to eye, before they grin mutually, amicably, across the table. I guess it is. Even though you were stalking me there for a bit. Yeah, and you did try to strangle me for my trouble. The Edge suppresses a guffaw and grins at Amandla. Amandla returns him a blank stare. Back to their table, the hostess has completed her calculations and seems pleased. All things considered, she sets down 2 more glasses of water and asks if anyone's ready to order. Michaela has a horror of biscuits and grits, double-fried anything and most any other southern filler. 10 minutes later, she is pleasantly astonished by the soufflé that Kermit delivers with a flourish while his wife isn't looking. Savoring a steaming crab bisque, Teddy asks her questions. Between fluffy forkfuls of egg, Michaela lays out the alternative entertainment planned for later that month. It is agreed that the Valentine's Day ruse is a strange yet amusing attention-grabber. At meal's end, no one is disappointed. Amandla even cracks a half-smile, announcing that she'll definitely be coming back. In the sepulchral parking lot, everyone admires Amandla's bike for a minute. The Edge's gray-blue 4-door Chevy didn't look like much when it came off the production line in 1977, and it doesn't look much different now. A big, mud-spattered pickup wheels in off the road and skids to a halt not 10 feet from their group. The thing is painted a dull camouflage, jacked up high on off-road wheels, windows tinted black all around. Huge dual exhaust pipes rumble out fumes as the engine idles. It is impossible to see the occupants. As many as 6 could fit comfortably, judging by the size of the cab. They're taking their time disembarking. Then the driver's window slides down, revealing a huge pink head, facing away into the cab and crowned with a green nylon ball cap tilted well back. The head's flesh is splotched an angrier pink, where it makes a necklace transition to shoulders heaped at the window's bottom edge. There is laughter and coughing in the cab. The head turns. It's wearing a half smile. The outsized face is round and pink as well, eyes hidden behind mirrored sunglasses. Sparse blonde eyebrows, superimposed on a partial sunburn, bounce up and down suggestively. Big jaws work in a circular motion before the mouth expels a copious stream of tobacco spit into the dirt midway between the truck and Michaela's group. The half-smile turns to a grimace before the head turns away and the window slides back up to black out the interior. Michaela's group exchanged looks. They cut short their chatty goodbye. Amandla has kept an oblique view of the truck while ostensibly ignoring it. She gets astride the big bike now and fires it up. Fiddling with the chin strap of her helmet, Teddy settles on behind and they set off Port St. Lucie bound. Michaela and the Edge get into his car. The Edge waits a bit before starting it up. Michaela thinks he must have something he wants to say. Just as she's going to ask him what's on his mind, he turns the key in the ignition. He lets the car idle another beat before dropping the old column-mounted shifter into R for reverse. Slowly, with a sidelong glance at the truck's license plate, he backs them out onto the roadside. Finally, he shifts into drive and casually pulls out in the same direction the bike has taken. Michaela relaxes and throws an arm over the back of the car's wide bench seat. They don't make them comfy like this anymore. She turns to see if the Edge is ready to speak up. His eyes are trained on the rearview mirror. "Well, you're driving really slow, in the wrong direction, and I'm guessing you're worried about the duck hunters back there." "Just my suspicious mind, I guess." After 5 minutes, they still haven't seen the truck in the rear view. The Edge pulls over, turns around, and they head back. The lot is empty when they pass the Shoofly Inn. Chapter 54. The Edge is hitting the heavy bag at abs and jabs. He's hitting it hard, and he's wondering why. Getting back in front of an audience again is going to be interesting. Climbing into the ring expressly to lose is going to be downright strange, even for fun. For a while now, he's been off his full training regimen. He's kept up work on his core, done plenty of skipping and some capoeira, but he hasn't been hitting the bags at all since his close encounter on the waterfront. Not like he needs to now, either. This will not be the fight for survival his MMA bouts amounted to. How was it he never actually worried? Risking the catastrophic body or brain injuries? The risks were always there in the background, providing context maybe. What is the context with Michaela in the ring? Back in MMA, he'd done a thorough job of keeping his personal past out of his professional life. The media obliged the fans with an Edge legend where he'd fought his way through life, an orphan hardened in the crucible of a youth devoid of love and care. In fact, there'd been a perfectly loving Mother Edge. His father had died a grunt in a uniform, in a country whose name the boy Edge could never even pronounce. That boy had played with others on the banks of the river that wound around this little town. He'd walked home from school for lunches with his mother. His world had not been altogether solitary, but Mother Edge had gradually, irretrievably moved away from him. She moved on a river of chemical imbalance, of alienation surging into paranoia, emptying finally into a haunted wilderness where she lost sight of the Edge altogether. Halfway through high school, the Edge moved into a tent camouflaged in a nearby stand of woods. He worked a job washing dishes each night, bathed in a stream on his way to school each morning. He drew his drinking water and did laundry in the same stream. He finished out the school year without the administration twigging to his homelessness. But he'd never make it through his senior year and graduate. Somebody would rat him out. In the bigger town, a ways beyond his woods, he took a better-paying job doing tree removals. Dropping school meant he could double up on his karate lessons. 2 years he tree climbed, chainsaw on his belt, often 40 pounds of rope as well. The work gave him upper body like a gorilla. It was that formative period, age 15 to 17. His father dead, his mother gone. The teen Edge had lost what most would consider everything, but he concentrated on his gains. He'd escaped the clutches of child services, for one. The street door opens at Abs and Jabs. Dick walks in, squinting a little, eyes adjusting from the hot sunlight to the cool fluorescence. He spots the Edge and raises one hand in a quasi-salute. Skirting the raised ring, Dick stops and turns around slowly, checking the place out before making his way over to where the heavy bags hang. "Hey, Edge. Looking good, yo. Looking good." Leonora comes out of her office and stands at the little fence at the top of her stairs. "Yeah, no thanks to you." She's glaring straight through him when Dick spins around at the sound of her voice. He looks up at her, turns out his hands, and shrugs his shoulders in an apologetic gesture. The Edge has, for the most part, healed from the batterings at Michaela's hands. There are still a few scrapes and bruises visible, but with the recent hiatus from Babes That Bash, he's not the ER case that he's resembled for most of the year. The Edge chuckles at Leonora's vigilance. "And you should be thinking about getting an honest living as soon as this goofball event is over and done with. Gotta be out of my damn mind going along with it this far." Leonora stalks back into her office, leaving them each a dirty look to ponder. Dick comes the rest of the way over to where the Edge is wiping sweat off his face and arms with a towel. "Good-sized space, huh? I kind of forgot. It's been a while." "It'll fit a couple hundred with equipment out of the way. It's big enough." "So, Friday, huh? That's pretty fast, isn't it? You think we'll get a crowd in?" "Lance is pretty gung-ho. He'll bus 'em in from Miami if he has to." "Hells yeah! That's like gangster politician shit. I like it." "Yeah, I was kind of kidding." "Right, yeah, I know. Listen, I gotta get Brandy's car back. Actually picking her up in a bit. What's like going on today?" "Michaela didn't tell you?" No." "Well, we're uplinking for a webcast, right? You need to look around and figure out what you'll need. Can you Bluetooth DV cameras? They have to be inconspicuous. We can use the office for a tech center, but everything out in the crowd has to be completely low profile." "Oh, yeah, all that, sure. Yeah, it ain't Bluetooth exactly, but no sweat. I already asked Lance for everything we'll need." "Oh, all right, good. Get here early and don't invite any punks. There's going to be security." "Yeah, security. Good. Listen, Edge, I piss you off or something, man?" The Edge doesn't like the sound of that. Dick is picking up on something he himself hadn't noticed. "No, Dick, we're cool. Shit on my mind, I guess. Don't take it personal. Go get Brandy if we're on top of all the tech stuff." Chapter 55. The sky over the coast is a roiling horde of clouds. The horde is forever dividing itself, air rushing upward through this fissure. The darkness of some clouds verges on blackness. As these black clouds rush into their silver-gray cousins, colliding and racing ever upward, the light over the coastline pulses, now brighter, now ominous, dark. Occasional silent flicks of lightning begin threading between the convergent masses. Of a sudden, to the clash of a million cymbals, a brilliant shaft of gold descends from on high. A golden chariot, source of the light, drawn by a team of 6 enormous lions, splits the skies and races downward to the sea. Attis, the immortalized man-child, brandishes his whip, a purple robe flowing on the wind behind him. The chariot skims the surface of the leaping sea. The great mother, genetrix of all the gods, her turreted crown dazzling, Kibele Mata, reclines in the coachwork. Miami's towers list and sway. The sands fly up from the beaches and disappear into the sky. The greenish bones of the earth revealed there receive the awesome lion-drawn conveyance as the airs and seas compose themselves anew. Jim's streetheart half wakes in the sleeper car he's booked through to Miami. He lies still, the soothing motion beneath him encouraging his slumber. He's been visited in his dreams many times before, and he knows the goddess requires he remain tranquil and receptive now. The train has slowed. The subtle percussion of its wheels passing over joints in the track lulls Jim's back to sleep. His compartment remains dark, the window blind drawn down. Jim's dreams with nostalgia an overture to apocalypse, a common refrain in his dreams. These beginnings of the end punctuate humanity's long and storied existence. They are analogues to the personal crises of faith he's experienced all his adult life long. As humanity tears itself apart, tears the flesh from Mother Earth, the very air from her lungs, as mankind's transgressions accumulate, so the inevitable reckoning approaches. Restitutions must be paid, the mother's great mercy implored. Life burning sweetly, sweetly burning to an end. Awake once more, Jims sits up, swings his legs out of the bunk. Today's the day he'll make his sacrifice. The shade is still down over the window. He sits a while in the dim compartment, musing over the fleeing remnants of his dream. He raises the window's blind. Outside, the countryside slips away, lush and green and fertile. The sudden appearance of a light industrial park jars him from his contemplative mood. In quick succession there are clots of low-rise apartments, strip malls, and a dense multiplication of roadways paving away the last of the woodlots and open fields. The train's shadow extends well out into an open space as they pass. Brown earth graded low in preparation for some new development. It must be early, the sun not yet far off the horizon. There's a knock at the compartment door, followed a moment later by the handle being tried. Jims steps into slippers between his bunk and the door. He shrugs on a quilted robe with lapels and a coat of arms on its left breast. Outside is a boy, perhaps 4 years old, African-American, turned out in a pair of blue pressed shorts and a clean white short-sleeved shirt with collar. He looks up at Jims with a quizzical air. "I wanted to see what was in here. Is it your bedroom? Is this your train?" "No, young man. A beautiful queen owns this train."